What's going on, YouTube? So the Cadillac Escalade is of course the Cadillac's most important product, and the lineup has been expanding a bunch recently. And this week we've had the privilege of living with the newest Escalade in the lineup, the IQ. So, is this the fanciest and best Escalade to put in your driveway? Let's go ahead and find out. Alright, like always, we'll get started under the hood. Now, you won't see a V8 like you will on many other Escalade products, that's for sure. We just have the frunk up here. And this is powered by a 200 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack with dual motor all-wheel drive. Together it makes up to 750 horsepower as a maximum. The range is 465 miles.
Now, the base price of the Escalade IQ is $127,000, and if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. We, of course, will be taking this out for a spin later on, but first we need to shut up the hood, check out the bold exterior and the very fancy inside.
Now, the exterior of this IQ Escalade is certainly bold. That really is the name of the game. When you're talking about a flagship luxury SUV, you want bold design that stands out, and this really does achieve that both day and night. Everyone we show this to is very impressed by it as well. And one of the big reasons why I said at night as well is because really all of this lights up. So the entire grille area, the area next to it, the logo, and then the headlights, they all work together to give you a very impressive look at night. They will go through this really elaborate sequence of animations that really make you feel special as you approach the vehicle. Now, speaking of the headlights themselves, you can see that we've got the signature Cadillac design. It's the stacked crystals going through here. You've got your daytime running light and turn signal indicator right through there. And again, everything just feels very premium. They light up really well at night, as you would expect. Now, as you move around to the back of this IQ, this is the model that has the most sloped rear of all the different Escalades that you can choose. It's not exactly a sport back or anything like that, but it does look pretty aggressive. Yeah, and if you like the more squared off look, you could also get the Escalade IQ L. Now, as far as individual design touches, we have the spoiler right here. We have a wiper underneath. And let's check out our taillights. So our taillights are, of course, going to be very premium. They have cool animations, and they're also going to be fully LED, as you might expect. That's your brake light, your turn signal, and your reverse light is integrated down here in the bumper area. Speaking of the bumper area, the tow rating comes in at 8,000 pounds for the standard wheelbase or 7,500 pounds for the IQL. Now, while I'm squatted down here next to these wheels, I think that really shows you the size of these, because kind of from a distance it seems very proportional to how large this SUV is, but when I'm up close you can really see the scale of 24-inch contrast alloys. You can get 22s on the lower end examples, but these 24s really seem necessary to make the design pop. Moving up here, you've got your turn signal located inside of the fender, Cadillac logo, really big mirrors, and of course they're fully loaded with all the features you expect for a flagship, including auto dimming. Now, Drew was just mentioning how big this vehicle is. It is absolutely massive. 224 inches for the standard wheelbase version. If you get the IQL, that's 228 inches in length, so absolutely massive. Now, all of our window surrounds are going to be blacked out, and up here at the top, you'll actually notice that we do not have roof rails. You can get those, but just on the Escalade IQL models. You can also get a two-tone roof, and when it comes to your safety systems, you get all of your active safety features as standard equipment, and that will even include things like Super Cruise standard free for 3 years, which worked flawlessly this week. But guys, we need to check out the very luxurious cabin. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12 and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point. No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. But as nice as the exterior is, the interior is really where you're going to want to spend a bunch of time. And before we get inside, typical Cadillac key fob here. You have some additional things for your frunk as well on the buttons. And then let's walk up to the door here. Of course, it's an electronic door handle, but what's cool about this is that it is a power opening door. So as long as you're clear of it and any type of obstacle, it'll just go ahead and open up the door to whatever setting you have as the maximum distance. But I'll push it open the rest of the way there so that we can look inside at this interior. This is certainly what you'd call a very bougie space overall, with a lot of things to talk about. Now, let's start with the seats, of course. One thing to note about this is that it doesn't have a real leather seat. However, it has a very, very premium faux leather, and this is super soft and supple. I think most people who get inside this would certainly think this is like a semi-aniline leather. I love the stitching and different details, and they're super comfortable as well, even on longer road trips. You can get unique colors as well, such as the blue you're looking at today. Now, as far as the adjustments, those are done over here on the door trim. You have a ton of different adjustments. You even have things like a massage function with a bunch of different modes. And then those are your memory seats, of course, your heated and ventilated seats as well. Let's go ahead and climb inside. Now, getting inside is nice and easy with the running boards. Just be aware they're not power deploying on the IQ models. And another cool thing about those power doors I was mentioning earlier is you can set them up so that you just put your foot on the brake, starts up the vehicle automatically, and closes up those doors. That is very high-end touch. It's, of course not necessary, but it definitely makes you feel spoiled after living with it. All right, let's look at the rest of the cabin material. So over here on the door trim, we have a beautiful leather all throughout. You have these gorgeous real metal speaker grills, beautiful wood trim, and leather stitched all the way across the top. As you move to the upper dash, again, you'll see more nice materials, soft touch plastic up there, generous use of this wood trim going all throughout. The wood trim on the doors, by the way, also has ambient lighting that shines through at night. You have more wood through here, more leather and metal surfaces. Of course, the vehicle itself is already fired up, so it kind of gives you a chance to go ahead and take in this very large display setup. We have 55 inches of screen real estate, which expands all the way across the dashboard. But we'll start off by talking about the section that they use as the gauge cluster. You can see that you can put a very large map display in here. We can also go in, change to a few different types of views, including the night vision system that we have on board. Messed with that a little bit at night. It kind of highlights different types of objects and people if they cross into your way. And of course, you also have a large head-up display. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we see that we have the two-spoke luxurious Cadillac design, very soft and supple. It is heated as well. You have leather wrapped for the airbag cover, power tilt, and telescoping abilities. Now let's turn over here to interior storage. This is a big boy, so you'd expect to see quite a bit of space. Indeed, you will see a large console, which we can fill up with 21 donuts. So that's approaching, of course, the 24 donut mark, which is the maximum donuts that we even have. Everything's nice and felt lined as well. Now in front of that, you have a ventilated wireless phone charging pad. Over here, you have a ventilated wireless phone charging pad. You've got your two different cup holders, and then you've got this really large center pass-through space. As you can see, this is absolutely huge. You could stick just about anything down here. It even has the leatherette wrapping at the bottom with the stitching details. You can change this to a refrigerator as well if you want that option. Now, of course, a lot of that space comes courtesy of the electronic shifter up here on the column out of the way. Pull down for drive, go up for reverse. When you go into reverse, here's our standard 360-degree camera system. As you can see, you got the overhead view as well as the active trajectory and some other options that you can do over there, including an interior camera, by the way, if you want to look back at your occupants. And just press the P there for park. You have electronic parking brake and a brake hold system. You also have one paddle shifter that adjusts the regen braking. Now, as we move to the center section again, this is a control knob for the infotainment system if you don't want to touch it. And then next to that, you have your volume knob for the audio systems. Now, you have always a really nice AKG sound system, but on the premium trims, that's going to upgrade you to the 38-speaker AKG reference sound system. Let's go ahead and hear that sample. very nice. This sound system is one of those sound systems that just sounds phenomenal with every type of music. We listened to a wide variety of things this week, and it really just pops with tons of detail and crisp, just really well-rounded sound environment, including things with the headrest speakers. They really just add to the overall experience. All right, let's zero in on this display. So in addition to the 55 inches of screen real estate you have above, you get another screen that's used for controls and climate adjustments. So this vehicle actually has 5 climate zones. So you can adjust both the 2 passengers in the front, the 2 passengers in the back, and then the third row gets their own adjustments that they can mess with. And of course you can do this with a display in the back as well. Now this screen also has some additional controls since a lot of them are going to be inside of displays. So this is where we can see some other climate things. You can click that button right there. This is where you can make seat adjustments, including turning on the massage that I was mentioning earlier, and see all the different modes that you can select. And then you have just some basic stuff, also like turning on your rear steering system, your night vision settings, drive mode controls, door modes, so you can actually click here and swipe on any of the individual doors to control them with their full power state. Now, moving to the main infotainment system, this part is not going to be too crazy. It is very similar to what you get on other General Motors products. Of course, though, it is seamless with the gauge cluster. Inside of here, you have things like Google Apps built in, including Google Maps that you can pull up on the display itself. And you can adjust things like your ambient lighting modes, where you have over 100 different selections that you can choose from. Just be aware, you do not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So I know for a lot of people that's a big deal. You're not going to have that on board. Instead, Cadillac presents you with the ability to download some applications natively on the system, such as Spotify. Now on the other side, here's our passenger display. If you click into it there, that will kind of open it up. You can see you have a selection of apps already downloaded on there where you can sign in to YouTube, Hulu, things like that, and just stream right into that screen. Up top, auto dimming mirror with the rear camera view. And then Mason can kind of pan back and show you this very large panoramic sunroof. Now, the interesting quirk about this product is the fact that this panoramic sunroof is fixed. It also doesn't have a sunshade. So if you want to block the sun, you're going to have to actually buy a little bit of a shade that you clip in place yourself.
But what about the rear seat areas? This, of course, is going to be a really nice place to spend time, and I'm going to first and foremost begin by talking about the space, because that's a really nice element. 41.3 inches of legroom is what you can expect. 40 inches of headroom. Both of those figures are going to be very good, also very spacious, especially for someone who's normal size like myself. I'm 5'9", and this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I brought along the official Car Confections ruler for your reference, so you could see what the knee room would look like in that scenario, and we're sitting at about 10 inches of knee space. That's very good. Also, my feet can slide up underneath of the seats. Speaking of the seats, they do have the ability to slide forward and back a very good distance. They also have the ability to recline a really good distance to maximize your comfort. Now, you'll notice that we have captain's chairs. Those are standard on every single Escalade IQ. And let's talk about the features. So up here in the center area, you have your vents right there. You have your own climate controls. Drew already mentioned you have 5 zones of climate, so you have controls for both the second and third row. And we have heated back seats. Those are also standard equipment. Now, if you want something a little bit more special, I do want to point out you can get an executive rear seating package that adds tray tables, rear seat massage, seat ventilation, all the really fancy stuff. So if you want all of that, you can get that here. It's just not equipped on this model. Now down below, we have a little drawer that pops out with your 2 cup holders. You have 2 HDMI ports, 2 USBs, and even a household style outlet. The reason you have the HDMIs is because we've opted for the rear seat entertainment screens. They're about 12.6 inches, and they have a lot of good software on board, including things like YouTube, so you can watch your favorite Car Confections videos in the back seat area. Now, if you take a look over at the door trim, really nicely done one. You have leather really from top to bottom, beautiful wood, beautiful speaker grills. The only thing I'll complain about is the fact that you don't really have a lot of bottle storage. You have some door storage, but it's not big enough to fit a bottle. So if you want to, have a bottle in the rear, you're going to have to use this little cubby right here. And let's check out the third row. In order to get back here, you just press this button. That's going to fold the seat down. Once more is going to pop it out of place and allow for an easy walkthrough. As a new father, though, I will say if you have a car seat installed, this folding mechanism does not work very well at all. So I kind of wish they had at least done the tilting mechanism so you wouldn't have to remove the car seat. Now, let's hop back here into the third row. In the third row of the IQ Escalade, you're going to have a good amount of space. It's about 30 inches of legroom and about 36 inches of headroom. Those are going to be pretty good figures. However, if you really want a good third row, get the IQL. That's going to increase your headroom significantly. It's also going to give you a lot more third row legroom as well. I believe it's around 36 inches, so it's a really big improvement if you get that IQL. And speaking of that, if you want to check it out, we do have a review already live on the channel for your reference. Now, this seat is adjusted all the way back in its tracks. I have about 1 inch of additional knee room. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seats. There are 3 seats back here. They're really quite comfortable. That means overall seating capacity is 7 passenger. Over on the armrest, we have a leatherette pad. We have a cup holder, USB ports. The rear glass is a little bit on the small side, but we are going to have vents up here in the ceiling. No third row seat heating or anything like that is offered. So as far as how it rates on the third row rating scale, I'm going to say that this is fit for adults. Walking up to the tailgate, of course, you have a power hands-free one, and let's see overall cargo capacity. So what we're sitting at is around 25 cubic feet of space behind the third row of seats. If you fold the seats down, which you can power fold, by the way, that's standard equipment on all of them, that gives you 73 cubic feet, and as a maximum, with all the seats folded down, about 121 cubic feet is what you can expect. Obviously, that's a very good cargo capacity, that's for sure. The IQL does increase that a little bit, but not by a ton. It's about 125 cubic feet as a maximum. Now, if you're cross-shopping this with other luxury flagships, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. There are a lot of great choices, and we have gone through every single one of those and ranked them in individual categories like cargo space, third row, interior luxury, powertrain choices, value, and you can sort the list based on the categories that matter most to you to really make an informed buying decision. So definitely check that out at carconfections.com. Now, all the seats are folded down, so let's go to our cargo length, width, and height figures. Now, as far as cargo length, that's going to be really, really good. 93 inches of length behind Drew's seating position. Behind the second row with it slid all the way back, about 55 inches of length. And from behind the third row, 22 inches of length. The opening's really wide as well, 50 inches. Height, very good, 30 inches tall. And then underneath of the floor, there's a little bit of extra space, enough room for your charging cable. Of course, you do also have the frunk up in the front of the vehicle. That's around 12 additional cubic feet of cargo capacity that you wouldn't get on a traditional gas Escalade. And this model does not have a spare tire, but it does have a power outlet. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Cadillac Escalade IQ, and this test drive we'll be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. But first, we've got to start with an acceleration, because this thing is really fast.
And that was over 60 miles per hour. Yeah, so obviously this Escalade is quite quick when you put your foot down, especially when you put it in the sport mode and hit the V button right here, the V max mode. That turns everything up to the maximum. That's that power figure that I mentioned at the beginning in the spec dump. 750. 750. I was like, or 785 pound-feet of torque. That's what I was trying to say. It was 785. 750 horsepower, 785 pound-feet of torque. So obviously huge numbers for this big boy.
Yeah, and it's a good thing it has 750 maximum horsepower, because this thing weighs an absolute ton. You could see that, with that acceleration there. It kind of starts like getting a little wobbly. We see that with a lot of these big GM Ultium SUVs, is just the fact that it just kind of like feels a little unstable as you accelerate, because it's so big and so heavy.
Yeah, the front just like lifts way up in the air.
It's a little scary. I wouldn't recommend doing a hard acceleration on a really narrow road, that's for sure. As far as the 0 to 60, it's rated at 4.7 seconds to 60. So it's, even despite having 750 horsepower, it's not like blisteringly like going to make you black out type of quickness, because it is so heavy. But overall, it's definitely a good acceleration. It is faster than the gasoline Escalade that you might be cross-shopping this with, and the power delivery, of course, is very smooth and refined because it is electric. And we're on our designated strip of road to talk about things like ride quality, so I'll go ahead and mention that. When it comes to this, the Escalade IQ does a really good job. So we have a couple technologies on board to help out. We have standard magnetic ride control. We have a standard air suspension as well across the entire board. So that really does mean that your ride quality is very good, even despite having large 24-inch wheels on the outside. I mean, those are ridiculously big wheels. So to even have decent ride quality with those size of wheels is very impressive, and it's better than decent, that's for sure. It's very good ride quality. The seats are very comfortable as well. I would maybe recommend getting the 22s if you want slightly better ride. When you hit, like a bridge abutment like that, you do get some sharp intrusion just because of how big the wheels are.
Yeah, all in all, it's good though. And these vehicles built on this large platform, the Ultium platform, they're very solid feeling. You can just feel the heft, kind of in a positive way when it comes to that, because it just feels like, you're kind of floating along in this big, heavy land yacht.
And we are speeding up to 55 miles per hour because we need to get our sound level reading, an official one here in Kentucky. So let's see how quiet this Escalade IQ is. 53.4 decibels is our sound level reading. We don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to other flagship level products. We can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings. And really, compared to all the flagships, that's going to be on the quieter side still. It's not the quietest option that you could get, but I have to say, for something this big that sits this tall off the ground to really not be getting hardly any wind noise or anything like that is a very impressive feat. And it's a good thing because the audio system is fantastic. So you don't want to hear all the road noise, you just want to hear that fantastic audio experience. We need to mention range, so let's go ahead and talk about that. That's an impressive element for the Escalade IQ. So all models will have a 200 kilowatt hour battery that is usable capacity. So that is a very large battery. That's why this weighs so much and why it feels so unstable under those super hard accelerations. But it gives you fantastic range. So it's 465 miles for the standard IQ, 460 miles for the IQ-L. So really, really good stuff. As a matter of fact, they brought this car down from Detroit all the way to Lexington, and they only had to stop to charge it once when they were here in Lexington. So that's a very impressive feat. Most of the electric vehicles, they have to stop and charge multiple times before they bring them down to us. So that's something I did want to point out.
And we're on the natural environment of this vehicle, a back road. Just kidding. Yeah, it certainly feels big on a country road, but I imagine most people are going to be using this for highway cruising and rolling out to fancy events in a city atmosphere.
Yeah, and well, if you do take this on a road trip, what about the charging? So the charging, you have a maximum speed of up to 350 kilowatts. That means you can get about 100 miles of range in as little as 10 minutes. So it's a very fast charging EV, and it's a good thing, that's for sure. You do have the rear steering as well, which kind of helps with your maneuverability on a country road like this as well. Now, regarding efficiency, after the past week that we've been living with this model, we'll go ahead and insert a picture in, but based on the EPA rating and the usable battery size, what we should be sitting at is around the 2.32 miles per kilowatt hour. We'll see how that compares after our week long of testing. We'll go ahead and insert a picture in and explain how that compares to that number. We haven't quite finished our full week with this model, and we want to give you the best picture overall.
Now time for the slam dunk and airball. I will start with the slam dunk, and that's going to be just how special it feels to be behind the wheel of this Escalade IQ. It really does feel, like a very special flagship SUV. It even stands out above the regular Escalade with certain unique things that this can do that a regular Escalade certainly cannot do. And I think in addition to spoiling you, is it just feels like something that you can pretty easily live with on the everyday. Despite the huge numbers that this thing produces, it does kind of, just kind of settle down, and you're just in absolute comfort going wherever you need to go.
Absolutely. Now on the airball side, that's going to be the price. All of this does not come cheap. We're sitting at a little over $150,000 as tested today, so it is even a step up over the traditional gas Escalade fully loaded. As I said at the very beginning of this video, we started around $127,000. You can see the full lineup of prices on the screen right now. We have the fully loaded example. So we have the Escalade IQ Premium Sport. We don't really have many options, just the rear seat entertainment system. $1995 destination, or actually $2390 destination. We're sitting at $152,590. If you're curious as to where this vehicle is manufactured, it is here in the U.S. It's in Michigan. And if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use if you plan on doing dealership negotiation. You can check all of that out, including things like a monthly payment calculator, on our website, carconfections.com. But what about Cadillac's resale reliability and warranty? First up, let's talk about resale value. Cadillac as a brand is rated at 40.73% of estimated retained value after 5 years and 60,000 miles, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 14.65%. Now that is well below industry average for all vehicle brands. However, it is on par with other German luxury brands such as BMW, Mercedes, and Audi.
Now, we've also calculated reliability with our combined reliability index. With the latest 2026 data, Cadillac is rated just a bit above the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about all of that, you can find that on our website, carconfections.com. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a basic warranty of 4-year, 50,000 miles, powertrain warranty of 6-year, 70,000 miles. The battery specifically is warranted for 8 years and 100,000 miles, and you do also get your first complimentary service visit. And guys, that's going to wrap up our week-long review of the 2026 Cadillac Escalade IQ. If you enjoyed hearing our impressions of this flagship-level luxury SUV, we'd really appreciate you subscribing down below. By subscribing, you're going to help us to get more cars like this down here in Kentucky so we can get extensive testing on it. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.